She said it like it was a joke, a harmless thing. One of those little modern quirks couples are supposed to laugh off, like your partner's celebrity crush or the barista who knows their order a little too well. But I didn't laugh. Not really. I gave one of those smiles that feels more like a flinch. I remember stirring my coffee, watching the spoon clink the sides of the mug, and forcing my voice to stay even. "Oh yeah?" I asked. "Work husband, huh?" She shrugged, casual, like it didn't mean anything. "You know how it is. We spend so much time together. He's funny." "It's not like that." I wanted to believe her. I really did. It started small, like most things. She'd mention him here and there. "Matt said this. Matt did that." Apparently, Matt made the best jokes during team meetings. Matt always brought her a Diet Coke from the vending machine without asking. Matt texted her memes at midnight. But it was always work stress, she said. "He just gets it." I kept telling myself I was being old-fashioned. Insecure. The kind of man who reads into things that aren't there. That's what she said too, once. We were lying in bed, her back to me, phone glowing in her hand. "You don't trust me?" she asked, not even looking up. Her tone wasn't angry, just tired. Like I was the one dragging something ugly into the room. "He's married. He's got a kid. It's not like that." But something didn't sit right. It was the way her laugh changed when she mentioned him. Lighter, effortless. It was the way she always seemed a little distracted after coming home, like part of her was still back at the office with him. It was the way she locked her phone after every text, how she angled the screen away when I sat beside her. I told myself to drop it. I almost did. But then came the night of their work party. A casual after-hours hang at a local bar. Nothing fancy, just drinks, darts, a little karaoke. She said spouses could come if they wanted, but she made it sound optional. "It's mostly just coworkers. You'll be bored." I went anyway, and I wish I could say it was some dramatic moment, like I caught them kissing in the parking lot or whispering in a corner. But it wasn't that. It was smaller, quieter. I watched them from across the room. She didn't know I was there yet. She was laughing. God, that laugh. Head tilted back, hand on his shoulder like it belonged there. He leaned in, said something in her ear, and she touched his chest, just for a second. The way she used to touch mine. And that's when I knew. Not the facts, not the timeline or the physical evidence. Just knew. Deep in that awful, hollow place in your gut where truth settles like a stone. I didn't confront her. Not that night. I left without saying a word, drove home, and sat in the dark with the TV off, the silence louder than anything. The next day, I asked again, calm, careful. "Are you sure there's nothing going on?" She got defensive. Said I was being paranoid. Said I was projecting. "You really think I'd do that to you?" she asked, her voice rising. "You think I'd risk everything for some dumb office fling?" I told her I didn't want to think that. But her eyes didn't meet mine. That's when I made the choice. I wasn't going to accuse her. I wasn't going to yell. I was going to know. So I followed them. It started with casual days, just waiting across the street from her office, watching the way she walked to her car. Most days, it was normal. She left alone. No sign of him. Until Friday. She told me she had to stay late. Big project, tight deadline. She even sounded stressed on the phone. "Don't wait up," she said. "I might be here all night." But she didn't stay late. She left at 6:42 p.m. With him. They didn't see me. I was in a rental car, parked down the block, engine off. They walked side by side, laughing. Again with that laugh. He opened his car door for her, and they drove off together. I followed. Not close. Not enough to be noticed. But close enough to see when they pulled into the driveway of a small townhouse in the suburbs. Not hers. Not his. At least, not the address listed in his company profile. But she had a key. I watched her unlock the front door, disappear inside. He followed. The door closed. The lights came on. And then I sat there. For maybe an hour. Maybe more. I don't even remember if I cried. I don't think I did. Because that wasn't the worst part. The worst part came later, when I finally confronted her. I waited 3 days. I needed time to breathe. To think. To gather everything inside me, so I could speak without shaking. We were sitting at the kitchen table. I'd made coffee. Her favorite. She was scrolling through her phone like nothing had happened. "I followed you," I said quiet. Just those 3 words. She looked up, blinked once. "What?" "I know about the townhouse," I said. "I know you have a key." She stared at me. Not guilty. Not ashamed. Just blank. Like I'd told her the weather. Then she said it. So. No denial. No tears. No gaslighting. Just so. Like it didn't matter. Like we were already too far past pretending. That was the moment it all broke. Not when I saw them together. Not even when I realized she'd lied to my face. It was this quiet, icy admission. This total lack of remorse. She looked me dead in the eye and chose not to lie. And that was somehow worse than anything else. I wish I could say I stood up right then, tossed my wedding ring across the table, and walked out. That I had some great line. That I made her cry. But I didn't. I just sat there, coffee going cold, hands in my lap, staring at a woman I'd promised forever to, trying to reconcile that promise with the stranger in front of me. So, I repeated. She didn't flinch. I didn't mean for it to go this far, she said, finally. Like we were talking about a work project that got out of hand. Not infidelity. Not betrayal. How long? I asked. She glanced at her phone like it might give her the answer. A few months. Maybe more. I waited. She didn't offer more. No timeline. No apology. You told me he was married, I said. She nodded. He was. A pause. They're separated, she said. Then she caught herself and added, technically. It was that word that did something to me. Technically. Like this wasn't real life. Like her choices were just paperwork and semantics. I leaned forward. Do you love him? She didn't answer right away. But she didn't say no. That silence, it hit me harder than anything else. Not because I wanted her to say yes, but because I needed her to say no. I needed her to lie to me one last time, just to soften the blow. But she didn't. That night, I slept on the couch. Not because she asked me to. Not because we fought. Just because I couldn't lie beside her knowing the truth. It's strange how quiet betrayal is. You think it's going to be fire and screaming and slamming doors. But it's not. Not always. Sometimes it's just stillness. A dead room. A woman brushing her teeth like everything is normal, while your whole life is unraveling behind her. Over the next few days, things didn't fall apart. They just came undone, thread by thread. She stopped pretending. Didn't hide her phone. Didn't make excuses when she came home late. She started dressing differently. Nicer, more intentional. A certain perfume I hadn't smelled in years came back. She used to wear it when we were dating. She wore it now when she left the house. I started noticing little things. How she checked her reflection twice before walking out. How she hummed while putting on mascara. She hadn't hummed in months. Maybe years. It was like watching someone else's girlfriend live in my house. I began looking into Matt. Quietly. I didn't want revenge. I just wanted the full picture. I needed to know who exactly she was unraveling us for. He was smooth, I'll give him that. Smart, too. A regional manager with just enough charm to skate by. Just enough ambition to be dangerous. Divorced last year. Amicably, according to court records. No kids. Clean record. Clean finances. But he was also a liar. Just like her. They weren't just seeing where things were going, like she'd claimed. They weren't feeling it out. They were living it. Weekends together. A shared bank account I found by accident while looking at our statements. Not much in it. Just enough to be functional. Rent payments. Grocery runs. Restaurant tabs with both their names on the receipts. And the kicker? The townhouse she had a key to, the one I thought he owned? It wasn't his. It was theirs. She was listed on the lease. Had been for over 2 months. That was the moment I realized I hadn't been watching an affair bloom. I'd been watching a second life unfold. A new start she'd built while still living with me under the same roof. And the worst part, the thing that scraped the inside of my chest raw, she didn't even try to hide it anymore. Not when I told her I knew about the lease. Not when I asked if she was planning to leave. Not even when I asked the question I didn't want the answer to. Were you ever going to tell me? She sighed. Not in guilt. In exhaustion. Eventually. Before or after you moved your stuff out? I didn't want to hurt you, she said. And I swear, I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was the kind of thing you say when you're out of excuses and too far in to turn around. She looked at me like I was the one being unreasonable. Like I was supposed to thank her for keeping me in the dark. For delaying the wrecking ball, instead of calling off the demolition entirely. That's when I realized something vital. She didn't love me anymore. But more than that, she didn't respect me. And once that's gone, there's no marriage. Just a contract of silence. A shared space occupied by strangers. So I did what I should have done weeks before. I stood up, walked into the bedroom, took out a suitcase. And for the first time in weeks, she looked surprised. You're leaving? She asked. I nodded. You already did. I'm just catching up. I didn't pack everything, just the essentials. The rest could be sorted out later, by lawyers or time. I didn't need the stuff. I needed out. As I zipped the bag, she stood in the doorway. Not crying. Not begging. Is this really how it ends? She asked. I looked at her. Really looked at her. And I saw the truth not in what she said, but in what she didn't. No, I said. This is how it already ended. I'm just choosing to stop pretending. I moved into a month-to-month rental that smelled like old paint and cleaner no matter how many candles I lit. It had creaky floors, a single window that faced a brick wall, and a leaky faucet that kept me up for the first week. But it was mine, and it was quiet. The silence was the hardest part at first. No footsteps down the hall. No hair ties on the bathroom counter. No idle chatter about her coworkers, him. Just me and the echo of everything I didn't say when I still had the chance. I thought the worst was over. I thought walking away was the end of the story. It wasn't. A week after I left, I got a text from her. Can we talk? I ignored it. She sent another. You left without letting me explain. But I had let her. I gave her every chance. And what she gave me was so I stayed quiet. Then came the email. A long one. Rambling. Contradictory. She wrote about being confused. About how things had drifted. How she never meant to fall for Matt. But that she couldn't deny it when it happened. She said she still cared for me. That I was her best friend. That maybe, in another life, we could have fixed it. I read it twice. Once to feel it. Again to make sure I wasn't imagining how little she took responsibility. There was no mention of the lease. No explanation for the shared account. Nothing about how long she'd been living the lie. Just vague words. Like love was a tide she couldn't fight. Like infidelity was a current she got swept up in. She didn't cheat on me. She drifted. That was her story. I didn't respond. Then one night, around midnight, there was a knock at my door. I almost didn't open it. But I did. She stood there. No makeup, hoodie pulled up, hair tied back. And for a split second, I saw the woman I married. The one who used to dance in the kitchen barefoot. The one who once held my hand during a funeral and didn't let go for hours. But that woman was a ghost now. She stepped inside like she still had the right. Looked around like she expected to see pictures of us on the wall. But there were none. Just bare paint and quiet resolve. I miss you, she said. I didn't answer. She reached out, touched my arm gently. Matt and I aren't, it's not what I thought it would be. There it was. Not regret. Not apology. Just disappointment that the fantasies she threw everything away for turned out to be real. Imperfect. Heavy with the boring weight of everyday life. It wasn't a movie anymore. And now, she missed the man who used to carry her grocery bags and ask how her meetings went. You made your choice, I said. And I'm not your backup plan. Her eyes welled up. She whispered, I didn't think you'd really leave. That broke something in me. Because it meant she'd counted on me staying. On my love being unconditional, even in the face of betrayal. It meant she thought she could burn down our house and still find me waiting in the ashes, arms open. I didn't leave, I said, voice low. You did. You just forgot to pack. She stood there for a long time. Didn't say anything else. Then turned and left. That was the last time I saw her in person. The divorce papers came a month later. Clean. No fight. No drawn-out battles. I didn't want her money. I didn't want revenge. I just wanted it done. But I'd be lying if I said I walked away whole. Even now, months later, I still flinch when I hear certain songs. I still instinctively check my phone at 6 p.m., like I'm waiting for a text that used to come every evening. On my way home, red heart. Now the screen stays empty. There are days I wonder if I was too cold. Too quick to leave. Days I think about what I could have done differently. Maybe if I had worked less. Complimented her more. Paid attention to the small things. But love isn't a math problem. You don't solve it by showing your work. Sometimes, the other person just subtracts themselves. I've started running again. Nothing serious. Just a few miles around the block in the morning. It clears my head. Reminds me I'm still here. Still moving. And I've learned something. Betrayal doesn't come from strangers. It comes from the person who knew where to stab. But healing? That comes from you. From the quiet moments. From not answering texts that reopen wounds. From choosing peace over pieces. She didn't deny it. She didn't beg. She just watched me walk away, thinking I'd circle back. But I won't. Because there's no version of love where you bury yourself to keep someone else's lie alive. And now that I've let go of hers, I can finally start telling my own truth.